Hello YouTube, it is Chris here, and in today's episode we're going to be discussing my new Cold Steel folders for 2017, so stick with me. Welcome back everybody, and thank you for sticking with me. Like I said, today we're going to be going over my new Cold Steel folding knives for 2017. Now for my regular viewers who follow me on social media, you will have seen a few of these knives already on the channel. But I would like to address the fact that we do get a lot of new viewers every single video, people who are just coming in, who've never seen anything. So we do like to kind of rewind and kind of showcase some of the older stuff that you guys have seen, plus roll in the brand new knives that you've never seen here before. For those of you who've been following my channel for a while, you do know that I love Cold Steel folding knives, due to the fact that overall, for the money, they tend to be some of the strongest, best performing knives I have ever handled. Now, a lot of people will jump on the bandwagon about Benchmade or CRKT or Spyderco or whoever they feel like talking about, but for me, especially since 2015, since Cold Steel revamped their entire line with all of the American-made steels, and they've upgraded their steels and the way they've done their designs and how they kind of just make everything a little bit better performing. We do pay a little bit more, but I feel the jump in quality is always there. Now the knife that's in the background is my Cold Steel 4MAX. Now technically this is, I wouldn't even know if I would call this a 2017 release. However, it didn't really become widely available until early 2017. They announced it, I believe, in 2015 that this was coming, and then they had some setbacks because they wanted to make sure this knife was basically perfect, and they were supposed to release it in 2016. I think a couple people got lucky in the end of 2016 and got a couple of them. But overall, this was a early 2017 release. Now everybody knows this is basically the creme de la creme of Cold Steel folding knives. This is the Super Tank, this is the Tiger 2, this is the no-nonsense premium everything CPM 20CV, titanium liners, Dedra G10, but not everybody likes big, heavy, bulky folders or have 350 bucks to spend. Now that these are not the only Cold Steel knives I have, these are just the newer ones. Like I own a kind of a different take on the Talwar in light gray. As you guys can see, there's stains and stuff on it, where this is basically my paint can opener, and it gets pried open with everything. I have the 2017, the newer XHP Espada, and we also have another budget knife, which is the Cold Steel Tough and Light. This one is also an AUS 8A, and this has got to be a favorite among people, I think, since like 2014 when this, or 2013 when this knife first came out. In 2017, they have revamped this knife. They basically offered it in like blue, orange, red, OD green. They had just a bunch of different colors, so you have your access to kind of have your own flavor, with a bunch of different knives. So this, while this particular rendition isn't the newer one, all they really did is change out the handle scales and give you a bunch of different options. From having the privilege to touch a bunch of Cold Steel knives over the years, since about 2011, once I first started collecting and getting into Cold Steel knives, and to give you a history lesson, which is something no one has seen on my channel ever, is my very first Cold Steel knife, which is the Cold Steel Recon 1, but this is the old version in AUS 8, and this was back in the day when they were you could actually buy the knife with the left-handed pocket clip straight off. They still include the pocket clip, but they pretty much just, for time, they just pop everything on the right and just leave it at that. But this knife has been through absolute hell. This was the very first Cold Steel knife that I ever bought, and I just held on to it for some reason, and I've never sold it, never gotten rid of it. I bought it back in 2011, and oh, I love this blade. It's still rock freaking solid. There's no blade play in this thing whatsoever. It's put up with a bunch of crap. You are going to be seeing these being fully tested, and some of them have been, like the Cold Steel 4MAX has been fully tested on my channel, and the SR1, and I will be kind enough in the back end of this video on recommended videos for you guys to watch. At the end of the video, I will actually link these for you guys to check out. But the Cold Steel Broken Skull, it was a knife that I didn't think I was going to like. It seemed too traditional, but I like Cold Steel's take on this. You get the kind of like an old school, kind of like a slip joint kind of knife of a look to it. But I like the trailing point of the knife. The full flat ground makes it very, very, very slicey. This has got to be one of the sharpest knives outside of, I believe, the Code 4 was the sharpest knife I've ever actually had out of box. But I like the slightly grippier G10 handle scales they put on here, so you're not having a very slippery handle like you do on the Code 4. But I like having an actual 4-inch blade on here. So for light duty EDC, this is turned into one of my favorites because I can slip it in my pocket, I can put it in my cargo pocket, I can put it in my pocket, and I literally almost forget for a full-size knife that this is even there. Next is the Cold Steel SR1. A lot of you guys that have been on my channel have seen this knife in action. This thing is awesome. This thing can hold its own. It is a blocky, tanky blade. It's not super heavy for its size though. It's about 7 ounces, which that is on the higher scale for knives for some people, and some people that may even be a deal breaker. But as you guys saw in the SR1 video, my testing video, I was comparing it directly to the 4 Max due to the fact that you get some premium steels in CPM S35VN and CPM 20CV. But you're also getting very tanky knives. You're getting oversized stop pins, you're getting huge thick blades, you're getting just ridiculousness. But the appeal for the SR1 in my book is the fact that you're getting that tanky, do-it-all folding knife that can really save your life in an emergency without having to pay 350 bucks. So if you decide that this is the knife for you and you want it and you want to save up for it and that's your thing, and that's what I did. I started saving for that like a year before because I really wanted that knife. For people who just don't have the budget or can't justify it, for 155 bucks, the SR1 could be right up your alley. I just got these 3 knives in today, and I haven't used them yet, but I will. I promise I will. But I will give you first impressions of what I think of them, what I like about them, what I don't like about them, and then we will let the testing speak for itself later on in those subsequent videos. So the first one we're going to talk about is the Grik. I love this little guy. I didn't think I was going to like it very much. I picked it up because it was interesting, and I actually like I don't think a lot of people will really appreciate the blade design. Is they wanted to keep the weight down. They keep this knife very, very balanced. It balances right on the pivot, which is beautiful. And they also had fun with the blade. Now it looks like a simple drop point blade, and they put a little notch in it. But they also, with the swedge, they also were very mindful to keep that tip nice and stout for you. I'm gonna make sure you can actually see. There you go. So they actually make sure that tip was nice and stout. So if you need it for any harder use tasks, you can. You still get the triad lock, but they started using this new opening, like basically like thumb ramps, eye hole thing. I'm not 100% sure what they call it. I think it's like PVT or PVD or something like that. And the one thing that I noticed about this knife is it's not using G10. It's using FRN kind of material that they use for some of the more budget-friendly Spyderco knives, or the lighter weight Spyderco knives. And this is actually the pocket clip. Now, there are going to be a lot of people out there that are like, that pocket clip's freaking stupid, I hate it. And I can totally see that, because a lot of people want a metal pocket clip. They're afraid that a plastic pocket clip, an FRN pocket clip, will break and snap. But what I appreciate about what Cold Steel did is in the box for the Grik, they actually go out of their way to make sure that they give you a whole extra set of the pocket clip. So if you do overexert that knife and are a little rough on it, you will definitely have a extra spare pocket clip, which is really nice. Next is the Con. And this is gonna probably, as far as the smaller knives go and the cheaper budget knives, is gonna be one of my favorites. It is a 3-inch blade. The action on this thing is super, super, super smooth. At least mine was right out of the box. You get the triad lock. It's simple though. This one is the Tanto variety. It also has that new thumb deploy opening, the kind of like the little Spidey hole concept, but I like the thumb ramp on it. I thought it was gonna be kind of weird, but it's super easy to open. This is really smooth. But they also made sure that the tip on this blade is going to be nice and thick, This one actually feels more solid, like it feels heavier and more solid than the Grik. It feels like a very solid knife. This is going to be one of those knives that I could carry on a work site or a job site and not worry about it. I love it. It's super solid. There is no blade play in this thing whatsoever. I really love the ergonomics of it, and the price point's right there. It's like in that $35 to $40 price range is perfect. But going over some of the specs, it's a 3-inch blade, 7 inches overall. As you can tell, it's a little bit longer, and it's actually lighter. So for this only being 2.4 ounces, you almost have a half ounce, a little bit over a half ounce weight reduction, but it feels more solid than the 3-ounce Grik. Both of these knives, for people who want light duty knives that have strong locking mechanisms, very formidable steels that will actually work, the budget price steels that will work for them. It's got a 3mm, so it's slightly thinner blade profile, but I like the ergonomics of the handle. There is a slight curve in the handle, so it'll have that nice slight palm swell before it gets to that nice finger notch right here to kind of let your knife sink in comfortably, so you have that positive grip. You don't feel like the knife's going to slip out when you're using it for any application. And for the budget knives for this year, these were the two I was the most interested in. And just to be clear, these 4 knives are not the only ones I was interested in. I was interested in one of the variants of the GoldenEye and also the Night Force that's coming out, but I'm not gonna be very frank with you. The Night Force is extremely expensive, and it's one of those knives that's just not in the budget for me to bring in. And last but not least, we have the Immortal. And this was a knife that I wasn't even going to pick up. I wasn't sure if I was actually gonna like it at all. But this knife is winning me over slowly but surely, as some people will not be able to get over the kind of Gladius, what they might perceive as a gimmicky design. But as soon as I got this thing in hand, I'm like, this isn't gimmicky at all. This is a real deal blade that is no joke whatsoever. And if you look, it is very similarly patterned to the Cold Steel Recon 1 in the fact that they have that traditional Tonto point. They just kind of gave it a slight ramp, and it gave you that, so you get more of a piercing capability. They put that swedge in there, but they flat ground the tip and the swedge, so this point is still going to be nice, stout, and strong. It is super, super, super pointy. I like the thumb disc that they use for opening, so it can be used lifted right-handed carry, but it's also designed to catch in your pocket clip for rapid deployment, because I do see this in a self-defense situation, and I think they put that in mind because this handle is big, that you actually get that extra grip on it if you so choose. So if you needed it for self-defense applications, you get that extra reach, even though you are getting a full 4-inch blade. Overall, I like the pocket clip. It's a different take on there. They have basically a butt pad, so you could use it as a glass breaker, a skull smasher, whatever you want to do it. They have a very generous lanyard hole on it. The triad lock is actually really smooth on this. It was one of the smoother right out of the box knives. Now, the SR1 out of all of the knives that I own for 2017 is the absolute smoothest. However, I batoned with this knife and basically beat and wore this thing in. I gave this thing a super thorough workout. So right now, this is exactly where I would want this knife. There's no blade play, no wobbles, no wiggles. And I mean, it's super, for no washers or no special deployment, one of the smoothest knives I've ever owned. Now that I have it broken in, I'm super happy with it. But what you will be seeing are full testing videos for the Grik, the Con, and the Immortal coming very soon. I do know Chris Tanner from Prepared Mind 101 also owns the Immortal, and he's going to be messing with that too, so you get to see 2 varying takes on that. But I don't want this video to drag on for too long, but these are my 2017 knives from Cold Steel. I'm very excited to see the performance of the Grik, the Con, and the Immortal coming soon. Hopefully the next week or so you'll at least see one of them getting thrashed on. Probably the Immortal, because I'm excited. It has a very aggressive look to it. It's very, has a utilitarian vibe. Some people will call it gimmicky. I totally understand where you're coming from. I had the same first impressions. And like I said before, for anybody who wants links to these knives and still going to do some further research on any of the knives that I showcased in this video, and also want some links to some of the testing footage we've done for the Formax and the SR1, I'll definitely be linking that in the back end of this video and down in the video description where I keep everything. That just about does it for now, and if you like this video and you're excited to see the test footage for these new knives coming for 2017, definitely give this video a big thumbs up and share this out with your friends and family in your social media networks so we can keep growing, thriving, and making awesome videos for you guys. But that just about does it for now. I hope you guys have an absolute wonderful day. I'm out.